We are back. Episode 13, Penn State Live here on the Voice of College Football Network.
Today, we talking about practice.
We are talking about practice. This weekend, the media finally got in to give us some content of what's been going on in camp because Penn State plays it super, closed down. So they got the little bit of access. So we got some sound bites from James Franklin, Colton Nittany, and Jim Knowles. Each gave us something, and football, it's in the air. It's finally here.
I thought you can smell it. The air is changing, food's starting to taste better. Beer's a little colder right now, we're so close now. Ever since the Hall of Fame game, it's starting to feel real.
Yeah, like they're clapping pads. James Franklin did speak. We don't have the audio about it, about how they're a little bit more banged up than he'd like to be at this point.
And that comes with territory, though. You know what? If you gotta, it's gonna come down to the recovery. I feel like more than anything else. It's you can get banged up, but can you get back? Can you get back up? This will be an interesting dynamic, going down the stretch during the season.
Yeah, it sounds like nothing's really like a new injury wise. It's just people recovering from the extended season last year and the deep playoff run. So it doesn't sound like it's anything new really, besides Caden Saunders, the wide receiver. His was a new injury that sounds like he'll be out for most of the year.
Yep.
Feel bad for the kid. High hopes, and this is like third or fourth season where he's had a season-ending injury.
It's like you said, it's devastating to see these. Like watching the pro, it's a lot, and it's still hard, but it stings a little less to watch a pro go down than a college kid.
Yeah. And like I said, it's just been such a hard road. Finally, a healthy off season, and then early in camp, he goes down with another severe injury.
That's wishing him the speediest of recoveries, but always unfortunate at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure. One of the few camp battles that we have is who's QB2 this year. And we have a little video from our man, James Franklin, who spoke about, the battle between Smolik and...
Yeah. So, in the spring was really tightly contested. I thought Jackson would be rusty coming back. He wasn't. He had a great spring. So we're gonna, this thing's I think gonna go right down to the wire. Depending if it finishes up like it did in the spring, it could continue throughout the entire year. If it's close, there's a gap. But if it's close, I think the competition could go throughout the year. Whoever has the best week that week, you're going to be back and forth type of deal. Just based on how close it was this spring. Obviously, we have all the data to back that up as well in terms of completion percentage, third down percentage, touchdown to interception ratios, all those metrics that we all know are important to evaluate quarterback position. Eliminating 3 and outs, those types of possessions, and then we've talked about this before. Whether it's an interception or not, we also grade interception-worthy throws or interception-worthy decisions.
I mean, I'm not against there being a tight race for the QB2 because that just makes the future a little more brighter, next year. Because, we all know this is going to be Drew's year this year, but it's good to know that the guys behind him are still, chomping at the bit, battling back and forth. That's what you want to see in this, especially this early in the season.
Yeah. And, we're talking about Grunkmeyer and Smolik. Smolik coming off an injury last year. Grunkmeyer actually got into a playoff game last year against SMU. So he has a little bit more on-field experience. But, yeah, you'd rather have the luxury of talented people behind Drew, because anything can happen during a long season.
100%. And at the end of the day, you got to make sure that you have somebody also back there who you can trust. God forbid anything happens, but you got to have somebody back there who knows the playbook, knows what they're going to do. Doesn't need to be an older guy, could be a younger guy, but you want to be confident in what you have behind your starters, and that goes for every position, not just quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, offensive tackle, defensive tackle, anything that you can think of.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the luxuries that the offense has this year is they have the luxury of depth at almost every position. Wide receivers, we got the 3 transfers in and, a bunch of young guys behind them. This is probably the deepest offensive line that Penn State has had in James Franklin's 12 years. Running back, as we know, we have Nick and Katron. Like, this team is super deep on offense.
When you look at the O-line, and there are 3, if not 4, top 3 round picks, on that O-line.
Yeah. Like, the offensive line is by far the best offensive line James Franklin has ever had at any level of coaching. Like,
it's probably the best offensive line in college football this year.
I think they definitely have a case for it, for sure. You'll look, Michigan is a little bit down. Ohio State's a little bit down. I think you got to look at Notre Dame, unfortunately, as one of the better offensive lines. But
Bama's got a pretty good offensive line as well.
Yeah. So, it's the usual suspects, but Penn State definitely has a claim to it, for sure.
It's going to be fun, especially, and you know what? I bet this offensive line, just to, kind of keep going on this one, I bet they're excited for this year. You've got not 1, but 2 potential record-breaking running backs in your backfield. So, if there's one thing I know, O-line love to run block way more than they love to pass block. So I think you're going to see this O-line having a lot of fun. I think I think you're going to see them moving some weight, as they say.
Yeah, 100%. You'd rather hit somebody than kind of catch them in pass protection.
Exactly. So
let's move everybody this way.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do about it because we're a bunch of big old boys.
Yeah, that's one of the things I heard on it was Landon Tingwell's podcast. Was he was the 5-star guard that had to retire recently because of injuries, so he's still kind of connected into the program, and he was talking about how he was talking to Nick Dawkins, the center, about before the Oregon game, and Penn State, according to him, didn't really feel like they were going to be able to run the ball well, and they absolutely dominated the line of scrimmage that game.
Really shows you even with the lack of confidence going into a game, how good this offensive line can still be. Now you sprinkle the bacon bits of them all coming back for another year. It's going to get, well, not all of them, but you know what I mean? But
yeah,
bringing back the core of this offensive line, is going to be massive. I can't wait. And that's the thing though. And a lot of, once again, I'm a big believer in you start your team at your offense, like literally your offensive line. You could have the best wide receiver and the best running back in the world, but if your quarterback can't get the ball to the receiver and the running back can't get through the hole, it doesn't matter. But you could have a good wide receiver and a good running back, but if the quarterback's got five seconds to throw the ball and the running back's running through holes the size of a truck that you could drive a truck through, now you're looking at a whole thing completely different.
Yeah, and I think that's been like the one constant. You look back at who's won the national title. Ohio State's offense line was pretty good last year. Michigan's offense line 2 years ago, maybe like one of the best ever. The 2 years before that, Georgia went back-to-back. Those offensive lines dominated those games. Like, it wasn't dominated by a dominant quarterback. It was dominated at the line of scrimmage. And I'm really hoping that's what we're able to do this year, is just dominate the line of scrimmage. Give Drew all the time in the world to figure out where he's going with the ball so he can spread it around. And let's get Nick and K-Tron and everybody in space, and let's see what happens.
And just from, the limited amount of footage you've seen, this O-line looks big. These are
big boys.
These are some big boys. I'm like, every now and then you see a couple O-lines in college football where you go, whoa. One that reminds me, I think it was last 2 years ago, TCU's offensive line was unbelievably big. It was like, wait a minute, what are these monsters doing here? And now, I'm looking at Penn State's O-line this year, and it's like, okay, these are some big boys here who are going to move some serious earth around.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're over 300-pound average.
I believe that is correct, which is in the college is wild.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. And we don't have a clip of it, but offense coordinator Colton Nittany, he actually said, like, they look out for 6 and 7 linemen on the field at once.
Oh my God.
Like, we're just straight up like, here, we are going to put 7 offensive linemen out here.
I want you to try to get by them. I want you to guess what we're going to do.
Like, we're going to give it to Nick and K-Tron, and you just try and stop it.
Or you're on the goal line, 7 offensive linemen. All right, you and that DB in that corner are going to go one-on-one, and we're going to see who the better man is here. We're going to just have a little jump ball, have a little fun. But here's the thing. Drew's going to have about, 7 seconds to throw that ball.
And, I mean, one thing that's always kind of been true in football is if you can run the football, you're going to be successful.
Yes.
If you can run the ball, you set up the pass, you just make life easier for your quarterback. Not that we need to make things easier for Drew, but it ain't going to hurt.
No. You can't make any quarterback's life harder if you're rushing for 150 yards a game.
Yeah. And then speaking of Colton Nittany, we do have a clip from this weekend of him talking about how they'll replace Tyler Warren.
And Bo Perbula. Those guys are both gone. That was a portion of what made your offense last season so creative. That's, at least to meets the eye, not necessarily there this time around unless Luke Reynolds and Jackson or Ethan can do those similar types of things. So how do you make up for those departures?
Well, the thing is that really when you look at football, in my mind, you have a chance every week for things to be evolved differently and certain parts of those plays to be gone. You brought up Bo and the fact that he had to leave when he did. We had to adjust, right, going into the next game. And again, I'm not saying that as a criticism for him. It's a messed up calendar that he had to make that decision. But, you had to adjust it. So it's not like you're ready to do that. Every year you have a new team. Every year, it's not a start over, but it is because guys are going to get better at certain things. Guys are going to not get better. New people are going to join your program. You have a new team every cycle. And so part of our responsibility as coaches is to identify what that looks like. These new components, these new packages of plays are going to cause stress or help us move the ball on the field and score. I'm excited. Like, it doesn't have to be the same. It doesn't mean we have to take a tight end and make him our quarterback like we did with Ty, right? It doesn't mean we have to have the second quarterback. It could be all those things, but it doesn't have to. It could be different people. It could be different ways to stress that people haven't seen yet. You know what I mean? Like, it's all about what our personnel is and how they're developing.
Yeah, so you got to love what you hear.
he just looks excited. It looks like he's got like a bunch of new. It sounds like a kid who's in Toys R Us and his mom was like, "Oh, here, you can get whatever you want." He was like, "Really? Thanks, Mom." And just runs into Toys R Us and just gets to grab all these new toys. And, I'll do this with that. Like the look in his eye was just like, you have no idea what we're going to do. And it's hilarious.
I love that analogy. Like, he's a kid in a candy store. Like, ooh, I have this over here. I can have this over here. And I like that he's not married to one thing. Like, he's not married to, like, this is how I run my offense and this is how it's going to go. It sounds like week to week, he is going to try and put the team in the best position to score points.
Which is cool. Then the way he described it as well is like, you know what? He's like, we don't have to do what we've done in the past, but we can. And you have so it just sounds like but at the same time, it's a little scary. I hope he's not overdoing it, if that makes any sense. You know what? These kids, they've got class, they've got girls on their mind, they've got school on their mind. Are we going to be sending them home with the Cheesecake Factory menu style playbook here, or are we going to get more of like a Chili's, Applebee's kind of like menu?
Yeah, like you kind of have to you got to toe that line of evil creative genius and outthinking yourself.
Oh,
like we only need 4 yards on this. We only need 4 yards on this play. We don't need to try to get 30. You know what I mean? Like,
but what if? But what if
we just go ahead and get 30?
But what if?
I still love. You remember when he first got hired in, and they asked him kind of like his offensive like philosophy, and he said it's like your favorite Blizzard. It's gonna be messy. Gonna have this messy piece of deliciousness is what he said. But at the end of the day, it's just vanilla ice cream. Like he's just gonna sprinkle these little candies in, little Tyler Warren, little Nick Singleton. But at the end of the day, they have their base and their bread and butter plays that they know work, and he's just gonna sprinkle this in, every week.
And that, and touche to you, very good way to put that as well. Coming literally from the horse's mouth. I am excited to see if we get a little bit more trickery this year, as opposed to just, north, south, X's and O's. If we get a little trickery this year, it just as a fan, it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, like the one game that sticks out for trickery was the USC game where Warren had 9 million receptions and 1,000 yards and played center and caught a touchdown. And
if you don't want to cover one of the best guys on the field, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, it's sorry that he was open.
Yeah, last year we threw it to one guy really well, and if you decide not to cover that one guy, he's gonna have a hell of a game.
That is on you. But now I feel like we're going to see the opposite this year. I think now we get to throw to everybody.
Right. And that only can make the offense better. Not being so one-dimensional in the passing game. If you can throw it to Penny over here and Ross over there and Hudson over here and Reynolds over here and Dinkins over there and Singleton and Allen, if you can spread the ball out to 8, 9, 10 guys a game, it's be awesome.
And that's got to be good for the locker room at the end of the day too. Everybody's getting touches. Everyone's happy.
Yeah,
I don't want to play devil's advocate, but I'm sure last year there were people in the locker room who were probably upset that the tight end is getting 14, 15, 16 looks a game.
Well, if you get
do
open,
better, then do better. Exactly. Do better.
Get open. But yeah, the only thing that worries me about that is you don't have the Jeremiah Smith like from Ohio State hey, I need a play here. I know I can go to him. Like last year, we need a play. We're going to try to go to Tyler. I don't know if this team will have that aspect to it. That's the only thing I like really worry about is, do we have a guy that's top end enough that can be a number one? But do we have enough number 2 and 3 guys to make up for it?
I think what you say is absolutely true. I think you'll see somebody from the wide receiver core transcend this year. I think somebody's going to take it to that next level. There is so much opportunity for this team. I would be surprised if one of these guys just kind of doesn't stand out going through this season.
Yeah, we need that Jahan Dotson. We need that Parker Washington, that Allen Robinson. We need that one guy on the outside that'll go up and catch you a ball, basically. Hey, Drew, the one quote that James Franklin hated, just chuck it deep. Sometimes you do need that, and you need a guy that can go get that ball for you.
If you have a speedster, he's going to be open down there at some point if I throw it far enough.
Right? If I throw this farther than the defender and my guy can run under it, there's not much you can do to stop it.
That is some John Madden logic if I've ever heard it before. If you throw the ball further than the defender and the receiver catches it, you're going to score more points.
And boom, bam.
Boom.
And one of the aspects we've talked about a lot this year is, Jim Knowles' effect on the offense and how the self-scouting. But
sorry, I've just thought about the conversation we had right before the. We'll bring it up after the clip, but we had a very funny conversation right before the show started.
Yeah, so Jim Knowles did have a little bit to say during the media availability, so let's take a listen at this year.
Tony in the spring, right? Because he was.
He's talking about Tony Rojas.
Certainly got to watch a lot of film on him and saw his talent, but just in a couple days, very impressed. Very impressed. He seems to have developed physically in the off season, and not only that, but he's picked things up quickly, which is tough to do when you don't get the reps on the field.
So, just a little bit talking about Tony Rojas coming back from his injury, his shoulder injury, and not a whole lot of excitement out of Jim Knowles.
My man is a zombie, dude. Just the monotone. I was falling asleep. That was only a 20-second clip, and I was falling asleep watching that.
Like the mad genius, he's the quiet type, I guess.
That guy definitely has a severed head in his basement freezer for sure. It may not be a human, but there is some sort of head in there for sure.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to rely on the position coaches to bring the juice. That's for sure.
And you know what though? And that's just his thing. He's he runs, and I've seen defensive coordinators do this before. They run their defense just like the head coach does. You got to make sure that the guys underneath know what they're doing. So you got to have that over the top look, and you can't get too excited about one thing or the other until you see some results.
Yeah, I mean it. Supposedly, Jim Knowles is legendary in the film room. Like, this guy watches more film than almost anybody in the world. So he just kind of hunkers down, and he's big X's and O's guy. And I mean, it's worked for him, obviously.
I mean, he has had just a little bit of success.
So, I mean, I am all here for, the evil, quiet genius just standing over there in the, just on the horizon with his headset on, calling plays.
As a casual observer, though, you're like, oh, God, is this bad? Why is he not excited about the team? What are we – where is this – why is there such lack of enthusiasm?
It's like the complete opposite of Colton-Nicky.
Who's literally just like, yeah, woo, we're going, and we're going to do it, and it's going to be fun and exciting. We might do it, we might not. You don't know. And then Noah's like,
but we're going to give it a try. He's like a golden retriever.
We look good. Yeah, and then he's like a Saint Bernard. Just team looks good. We play football. He'll be healthy. Thank you.
It is good to hear that Tony Rojas is looking better, looking good.
That is a huge.
Because he had that shoulder brace on pretty much all season last year, and was missing some tackles. So that's going to be huge for the linebacker room to have him back 100%.
Oh, 100%. It's got to be. And being a team leader, it's demoralizing when if not only getting hurt and playing hurt, the pain that you're in, it takes away from you. So you have to, that's a huge monkey off your back, being able to, go back in there with, what if I do this to my shoulder and not have to have those worries.
Yeah. Because, he's playing and he knows he obviously probably hurt, but also like, some of it is he knows like he could hurt it again. Like there's just so much. It's just always in the back of your head. You can't get rid of that thought. When you have a legitimate injury.
We called it the fear, and it's really hard to get rid of the fear. Whether it's your knee, your ankle, your groin, your shoulder. Once you do something real bad to it once. You have to literally trust your body, and you have to get over the fear.
Yeah, 100%. Especially shoulder with a linebacker. Like every play, you're getting hit on that. Every
play is a car crash, basically, and you're just going in there over and over and over again. So hopefully, sounds like he is confident. That's good. So obviously, he's probably taking a couple pops and he's feeling good. So. That's the best, the best case of a worse situation, best case of a worse scenario. There it is.
And then speaking of linebackers, we have another video here of the
leader
transfer.
How do you continue that in a new school when you're kind of the new face? You're a veteran guy, but how do you balance that?
Yeah, just keeping my head down. I got to earn my respect, obviously, being at a new place. So just keeping my head down, and then when that time comes, I'll happily embrace that role as a leader.
Do you see yourself as a Mike, or are they moving you around? How does that work?
Yeah, I'm at Mike right now, so that's.
And what makes you a good Mike linebacker?
Just what I can do. I feel like I can control the defense well. You know what I'm saying? And I can help the D-line get set up. Just being vocal. I'm used to that. I was doing that previously at my other school, so being vocal, being that center point of the defense.
Is it complicated under Jim? More complicated, less complicated than you've dealt with in the past?
I would say it's a lot of things how he likes to do things that may make it complicated for others, but I feel like he's doing a great job of simplifying his defense and making it a good scheme for everybody to learn.
One last thing, what's been the biggest surprise to you about Penn State since you've been here? Anything, football, school, whatever.
I would say just the school, honestly, the campus is it's a real football school, you know what I'm saying, that real football culture. So that's something I've always desired for. So that's one big thing that stood out to me.
Thank you.
So a lot to unpack. Biggest thing is though, Penn State's a football school. North Carolina.
Yeah, I didn't. That's not what I'm. That's not what I'm hearing. That's not what's screaming in my ear. What is Jim Knowles doing with his defense?
But yeah, I love the demeanor of the kid. Brand new to the team, transferred in. Hey, I'm going to keep my head down, and when they need me for leadership, I'm going to be there.
Head down, go to work. You got to love that type of mentality.
Yeah, you can't ask for much more from a kid, just to talk like that and know what he wants to get out of it and what the team wants to get out of it, basically.
100%. And knowing your place going into a new school is good like that too. You know what? He's like, hey, listen, I know that I was good in the ACC. This is the Big 10. It's a little different, but I still think I can play. But until then, there's no reason to make a ruckus until you start doing something.
Yeah. Like I said, keep his head down. And when we need him, basically, he's going to be there.
Nut up or shut up, as they like to say.
Let's see. Have you seen the top 25 that dropped?
Oh, dear. What do we have here?
We have the top 25 ranking. So just release coaches poll. So not the AP poll, but coaches poll.
This is the one that actually matters. I'm just kidding.
Depends on where we're at. No.
Nobody knows in the preseason. These guys like watching it, like they don't know. It's all speculation.
So here's the top 25.
Rats.
Number 3. So number 2 after week 1.
Number 2 after week 1. That's correct.
Texas and Ohio State start the year off against each other. So
yep. So that's right off the bat. Huh.
you got Indiana sitting way down there at 19.
I don't know how BYU's below Indiana.
Right?
I don't know how they have BYU at 23, which is crazy.
And I feel like for how many questions Michigan has, like having them up at 14 is a little high.
Yeah, that's good. Shout out to South Carolina, though, getting up all the way to 13. Good for them. That's a program that has been in the dumps for a few years.
And then Miami's in the top 10, which I feel like that's just to set up the week 1 matchup between Notre Dame and Miami. So they can say it's a top 10 matchup.
Oh, we're doing Catholics, convicts week 1?
Week 1. Week 1, we got Catholics versus convicts and 1 versus 2.
Oh, my God.
And we got Nevada.
Oh, and we got the Wolf Pack. We got the Wolf Pack.
We got Brock Purdy's brother.
You know what? And pretty high ranking for Arizona State. I don't know if Arizona State's going to hold on to that ranking this year. Cam Scadaboo was a one-man wrecking machine last year.
Right. Yeah, and he's not coming back through those doors.
No, he's not. Not one bit.
And I feel like SMU being up here, like Penn State completely exposed them in the playoff last year.
This is true, but they were in the playoffs, so I feel like it's more of an obligation thing. But also, SMU has been on a steady trend upward over the past few years. So, curious to see what they do.
I feel like Texas Tech is low.
Iowa State creeping up here, also very interesting. Which would be, we need them to just put some work in on Iowa. Hopefully they play Iowa before we do. So
they do.
Perfect.
But I want that Iowa undefeated.
No, how many times have I talked about this?
How much better will it feel if you knock off undefeated Iowa at Iowa?
If they go all the way to their undefeated, I'm going to be looking at you like, what did I say? What did I say?
Now I got to look at the schedule.
Golly. Can't. I'm not a fan. Not now. Not ever.
All right. So if they beat Indiana week 5, we might have a problem. If they beat Iowa State week 2 and Indiana week 5.
Yeah, that's going to be a big problem. I've been saying this for months. I think that's been months. And then Boise State. Just shout out to just Boise State slipping in there right at the end.
Right? Just slipping in there. 25 without Ashton Genty. Like, hey, they're good. Let's put them at 25.
Enough. Yeah, that's like the tip of the playoff hat there.
I feel like we need to support our troops and put Navy in there instead of Boise State.
I like that. I'm not against
un-American.
that at all.
Un-American not to have Navy or Army in here.
How dare they? Especially in a preseason top 25. Make them both 1 and 2. This is America.
Like they're busy folks this time around.
Yeah. Is there the Ukraine? There's a lot going on. They're still running the triple option. All right. I don't want to hear it.
All right. So, man, we got football every day. We got some football going on now until August 30th when the boys take the field.
It is less than a month away, boys and girls. Less than a month away.
Like I'm getting like jittery. Like can't contain my excitement here.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
But that'll do it here for us, Penn State Live, episode 13 on the Voice of College Football. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Like, subscribe, review. Every day. I mean, we're getting more and more subscribers, so it tells us that we're trying to do something right at least.
Lord knows we're trying. That's for sure.
Yeah, like, subscribe, review, and we will see you guys on Friday.
Thank you guys. See you Friday as always. Thank you very much.